After Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh and Jharkhand, another opposition-ruled state has now decided to implement the old pension scheme. On Saturday, the Aam Aadmi Party-led government in Punjab notified the old pension scheme. However, there is no word on the date of implementation. Congress, which is in power in Rajasthan and Chhattisgarh, where the switch to the old pension scheme has already been made, has now promised to restore it in poll-bound Gujarat and in Himachal Pradesh, where elections have just concluded. The old pension scheme, or OPS, was discontinued in 2003 by the then NDA government. The National Pension System, or NPS, was introduced for central government employees and covered all new recruits joining the service, except the armed forces, from the 1st of January 2004. All the states also shifted to the NPS, except for West Bengal. The NPS was born out of the fiscal crisis of the late 1990s, when pension payments had been growing at an explosive pace. The real and projected increases in longevity had also made the old system unaffordable. At the end of October, the NPS had 2.3 million central government and 5.9 million state government subscribers. There were also 1.6 million and 2.5 million subscribers from the corporate and unorganized sectors, respectively. Amid populist promises of restoring the OPS, voices warning of the consequences have also emerged, and they cannot be ignored. Comptroller and Auditor General of India, Girish Chandra Murmu, and Pension Fund Regulatory and Development Authority Chairman, Supratim Bandyopadhyay, have reportedly said that reverting to the old pension scheme could pose a fiscal risk for states. The old scheme puts the burden of employee pension on the state, while the new system sets contributions from the employer and employee. Under the new system, returns are market-linked. Why are these officials worried? In July, an article by RBI researchers on the condition of state finances warned that the adoption of the old pension scheme was likely to benefit the current generation at the expense of future generations. Punjab, Rajasthan and Jharkhand were among the 10 states that the article flagged for having unsustainable debt and being fiscally vulnerable. On an average, Punjab, Rajasthan, Jharkhand and Chhattisgarh spent 2.3% of their state gross domestic product on pensions in 2020-21. That was higher than the national average of 2.1%. The RBI has said that by 2029-30, Punjab, Jharkhand and Rajasthan would end up spending nearly 3% of their GSDP on pensions. Reverting to the old scheme will lead to more government spendings as employees under the new system begin to retire in 2034. Coming behind Bihar and Assam, Punjab and Jharkhand spent more than 40% of their own tax revenues for pension payments in 2020-21, while Rajasthan spent more than a third of its revenues. Chhattisgarh spent slightly less than a third. On a worrisome note, the tax revenue growth in Punjab, Rajasthan, Jharkhand and Chhattisgarh is slower than that of revenue expenditure. These states could be heading for financial pain. According to their latest budget figures, the 4 states will spend more than a quarter of their funds to support pensions in 2022-23. Calls for reverting to the old system aren't just limited to select states. A federation of central government employees' unions has reportedly written to the Cabinet Secretary demanding the old pension scheme be restored. Ajay Shah, a researcher at Pune International Centre, has said that while there has been no gain from the NPS reform so far with regard to the pension expenditure of states, without the NPS, the share of such expenses in total state revenue expenditure will keep growing for decades. Shah said that in contrast, redemption was on the horizon for the union civil pension expenses and for states that were still in the NPS. According to Shah, the gains from NPS will start reflecting in about 17 years. Pension expenses as a share of total expenses will stop growing at first and then gradually fall to zero. Business Standard also spoke to another expert, economist Rajiv Kumar, about the implications of reverting to the OPS.
I see it as a backward step because we know from past that the old pension scheme creates unfunded liabilities and therefore creates a fiscal burden for the next generations the quantum of which we do not know.
However, there is another side to the OPS debate too. Economist Pranab Sen says that the findings of his work for the central government on the issue of pensions was that as long as the real growth was above 4.5% and could be sustained, the OPS would also be sustainable. Sen does caution that this growth cutoff figure cannot be generalized to each state. He also adds that much will depend upon the number of government employees relative to the GDP of the concerned state. But he says that cutoff is reasonably easy to calculate if a call can be taken on the future growth prospects of each state. According to Sen, the fiscal implications of reverting to the OPS scheme will not be disastrous because of the dramatic shift towards contractual government staff who are not eligible for pensions.
The entire arithmetic has shifted in favor of the old pension scheme.
The concern is that reverting to the old pension scheme would turn the clock back on reforms that were hard-won in the first place. Editorials and columns across the board have said that parties championing the old scheme are trying to earn political capital by doing away with economic prudence. However, calls for the old system could also be an indicator that the state is not able to provide adequate social security, even when it comes to the creamier layer of the populace. Going ahead, perhaps a balance should be struck between the aims of fiscal prudence and welfare before taking a call on pensions.
If you like this video, share it and subscribe to Business Standard. For more news, views and insights, log on to www.business-standard.com. Do also follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Telegram and LinkedIn.